Well, that was freaking crazy. Only took
Uh,
like 5 hours to figure
you,
out how to it's all on the same screen together without FaceTiming.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's actually insane. I feel like it's probably because the email thing is probably tripping out.
Yeah.
But all right, first episode of both of us finally, so that's good.
Yeah, I hate to call you out right away, but I mean, we're doing a podcast on like personal excellence and growth, and your bed's not even made.
I mean, kinda.
That's good.
It's all right. That's
Uh,
that's why I blur out. That's why I blur out the background.
yeah, it's good. What are you thinking right now? Just getting started. I know, like I did that long ruck, and you obviously just say intro about yourself and all that.
I don't know. I've been honestly, it's been like kind of tiring trying to do this with normal work. Is what I've been thinking lately. Because I feel like we've honestly been putting a lot of effort into this recently, just trying to figure it out and actually make content and all that, like really do it. So it's been hard to like, I mean, like today I didn't go to the gym because we're doing this, you know? It's like
Yeah,
I did not have time to go to the gym today because of that, which is fine. But it's like being able to balance all that out. It's like I don't have that figured out. Like, I mean, I don't have that figured out regardless of doing a podcast or not. But I think doing this has definitely been a lot, like trying to figure out with work and this. It's just tiring doing all of it, honestly.
yeah.
But just trying to
And
balance it all out.
it's funny though when we talked about like in the past, I remember like when I had all that weight, I was like had really bad like just like how the negative looks I saw myself. I always remember just like never felt like I had time. I was just always tired, and it was just like go to work, come home. I felt like I ate, drink some beers on the couch, and it's like, and then just tired the next day. And I figured like since we've changed so much in our lives, it's like the time that we're spending on things. Like, yeah, it's a full freaking day, but
I mean,
it's
we like actually don't have time, you know? Like I literally like work, come home, did this. Like it's all I've done, and like I couldn't have done anything else today. Like or or we're doing this until 11 instead of whatever 8 p.m. But yeah,
yeah,
like I just think I mean we said it a million times in our conversations, but it's funny that we think like you're doing a lot back then, but you're really doing nothing. Like all I did was work and then play video games. Like there's no gym, there's no eating right, there's no reading, there's no listening to podcasts. There's none of that. Like, and you think you're busy, but you're doing literally nothing. And then now it's like you're actually busy and struggling to fit things into your day because you're actually busy.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, it's
good.
hard.
I was
I
telling
mean,
along when we got like going doing this, I'm like, man, I can't believe people that set up a podcast or something, like how hard it is just to get it going from 0 to 100. And we're still not even at 100. It's
we're
like
like not even. I mean, this isn't even what we want to do. You want to do in person, you know? We're just doing this to have something with both of us together because that's what we're doing. And I think I mean, it's young and younger, not young and then younger in his own thing. It's both of us doing it together. So, I mean, the goal would be to like weekly together, sitting down like, Joe Rogan or whatever when they bring a guest and have a nice whole setup. But like we were just talking about, we don't have time with that right now. We're just trying to figure it out. And I mean, that's the goal though, is to have every week sitting down together talking about it.
yeah. And I think like we're just talking about like what's I don't know, just the value that we're trying to put out there, and just be able to talk about things that I don't know when really it started, but I think we just us kind of kicked off like while we had this idea. I don't, and maybe you
I
remember,
mean, it was
but I
your
don't.
idea.
Yeah, I just remember like all of our phone calls that we have. We always seem to talk about so many different things, just about self development. And I know one of the funny things that I always I remember that, even with you, us four, you, mom, me, mom, and Katie, just always talk about like, um, mom and I always are laughing and making fun of you guys that like, dude, you guys are such good kids and do so good things
so
because
much.
like we raised you right,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you think about what you and Katie say, how you guys think about it.
I mean, me and sister, we didn't talk until when we lived in that house in when we first moved to Texas, like being across from each other, and you guys just let us talk to each other. I mean, that's when we first got close, you know. Before it was like
Yeah.
stupid brother and sister fighting, but yeah, I
Funny
mean,
though that like you guys think like, man, you guys were good kids and did good things. So
but it's the well, I don't know. What percentage do you think of it is raising, and what percentage do you think is like up to the kid doing a good job?
uh, I don't
It's
know.
probably
I mean, maybe it's
like 60-40 raising. I don't know.
like, yeah, yeah.
Like it's
I mean,
I think it's well, I guess it's like nurture versus nature. Like there's a certain point when you are a kid that you can choose to either I mean, like you raised me a certain way, but I could still not do those things, you know?
yeah,
Like so
and
there's a certain
ultimately,
point like you have to do like it's up to you, you know?
yeah,
Especially as an adult. I mean, if you go to college or when I moved out, it's up to you. It is not I mean, literally nobody tells me what to do. I could do whatever I want, but I still choose to have the values that I was taught from you guys to apply them. But yeah, I don't think it's. But again, I feel like if I wasn't raised well, then I wouldn't have like the moral compass to choose the right thing now, you know. And I'm not saying I always
yeah.
do the right thing. I'm still a young 21-year-old, the stupid stuff. But I think like
What
I
would you
know it's
say
right or
though?
wrong.
Like knowing everything you know now, like what would you say to somebody that isn't raised the right way? I mean, I mean, realistically, I mean, obviously there's no right or wrong. There's no manual, but thinking about like, if you had a kid that wasn't raised the right way, like
Or
where do you go? Like what,
no parenting or father figure or whatever.
like
I mean,
what,
I don't
yeah,
know.
where do you go?
That's a loaded question. I feel like that's what we that's why we're creating this is to help with that type of thing. And I also feel like there's a bunch of stuff out there, the Ed Milet, Andy Frisella's, the whatever. There's a million podcasts that are or YouTubers in general, books. And like I think you just have to pull yourself up from your bootstraps and do yourself. Like there is nobody there to do that. But I mean, there's plenty of people that have. I mean, you didn't have the best upbringing. You didn't have a good role model, And I mean, now we're doing this, and I think that's probably why you were so good, or like why you raised us well, because like you probably saw like, okay, that's what I don't want to do is how I was raised. So I think it's good.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It was always like looking back, I knew the generation would be better with you, but in the moment, being young, obviously 20 years old with raising a kid, and I know making the hard call to like for mom to stay home and me just go to work. I know that was a hard decision, um, but I think it definitely has paid off, like long term.
Yeah, I'm. I mean, it was definitely. I just remember being young and like when Dad made dinner, it was just mac and cheese, the Velveeta mac and cheese. So not only was it
A little bit
better
of milk.
for yeah, not only was it better for her mom to stay home because she can raise us more when you're at work, but I didn't have to eat mac and cheese 3 nights a week because mom was at
Yeah,
work. It was mom cooking dinners, not dad cooking mac and cheese.
yeah, exactly. What do you
Now,
think? Like the
now if it was the case, I would expect like a fillet once a week because that's what dad cooks.
I know,
But if
Definitely stepped up.
it's either filet or mac and cheese. That's or yeah, it's
Yeah,
like barbecue or
there's
mac and
yeah,
cheese.
nothing.
There's no yeah, you're not making
I'm pretty
lasagna.
sure nothing in the middle. You know?
No, no,
Yeah, even I don't even
no.
chicken. Like make I can't make chicken. I just burn chicken. I think it's literally fillets and yeah, Velveeta mac and cheese, which is
Yeah, there's
crazy.
no like you're not
Oh
like I don't think you can make spaghetti. I mean, I can't really either. So that's why I just eat protein shakes and burgers every day. That's all I eat.
yeah, I don't
I
think.
don't like cooking sucks.
Yeah. What has been your overall vibes from like all your friends so far? Like just telling them like that this is what we're doing, you know?
I don't know. I thought it was like hesitant to tell them because I mean you're always scared of what people think, you know. Even if you say you're not, you are. Like especially your circle. So I mean I sent it to them yesterday, I think, your video, and it was like, okay, that's cool. But it was like it didn't seem like they were like excited, you know. And then today they were like telling me tips, you know, like Saya was like, you guys should do TikTok next, you know, and post clips. And I was like, that's the next thing we're doing. So I think TikTok will be big. But again, too, it's like, I don't even use TikTok. I don't know I don't know what I'm doing, you know? So it's like, I'm gonna have to
What?
ask Sis or Matt because Matt is addicted to TikTok. That guy falls asleep with TikTok on. So he's gonna have to
Yeah.
put clips together for us and put it on there because I don't know what I'm doing. Matt and Si are gonna laugh when they see
Yeah.
this. They they told me
But
today. I told them I was like, we should do a. I was like, you guys could be guests on the podcast sometime, and he was like, that'd be crazy. And I was like, well, why not? And I was like, in whatever 2 months, if we're all in the summer, like why not? Like, I mean,
yeah.
we can talk about whatever with them. We have so many crazy stories with the boys, and even get like
Yeah, just
Josh
especially
or Big Rob. Like why not? You know?
yeah. 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 I mean, I'm excited that we can just, I know that the first one's like awkward trying to fill it out, but it's like, just being able to talk about things that, we both went through together and we're like, we're both young, funny. But we just, we're trying to
Young.
go through things. And I know, I know for me, like, I think I mentioned on my rock a little bit, but, um, I was sharing like just being newly to God and not newly to God, but I remember just talking about like, I've been sharing a lot that, I've always like considered myself like a dog tag Christian, it's like,
Yeah, like you
I got the cross,
you wear the
I
cross,
got the
but
cross,
yeah.
I got the cross, I got baptized and, I go to church, during the holidays and, it's crazy that all the changes that I've made, it's wild to see that like how much have changed. And, but I feel like I, I was feeling today, I was actually talking to a friend about it. And like, I feel like I got an advancement from God, as like advancement of like my
No,
life has been,
it's like
oh,
I think it's a natural gift. It's like a Michael Jordan. I mean, we're not Michael Jordan, but we are like blessed or lucky or whatever you want to call it to be where we're at. I mean, you went through what you would did as a kid, whatever, move out at 17. We can talk about it more when we get an actual, you know, full conversation podcast instead of just like the intro. But like you went through that, and then like when I was a kid, when we were poor, I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't think we were poor. I didn't know, like repo cars and foreclosed houses, things like that. But I didn't know. I still got what I wanted for Christmas every year. So I think like you went through that, and I went through that to be where we are now, or you taught me, instilled in me the values and the hard work to work where I am at my job to buy a house. So it's like why like keep all that for ourselves? Why keep the info? It's not like hidden information. Like why not share that? Like
yeah,
Like,
Yeah, I
we could just
wonder,
talk about all that.
wonder about, yeah, I wonder about like, I know I always worried about like, once we were like at least okay on money and finances, like I was always scared. I never wanted you guys to feel like, I think we both agree we hate that entitlement. We hate
Oh
people that
yeah.
are,
I mean, you could call me a
go.
racist slur, but don't call me entitled. I hate being called entitled.
Yeah, exactly. And I think entitled's a hard word, but I know I really struggle with that, like because I never wanted to raise you guys to be entitled and to have that mindset of just stuff for free or but hey, I mean
Well, that's probably why
you
I hate
guys
that
you
word
guys
now so much. Like I think that's why I hate that word so much is because like the way I mean, you used to when I would whatever in the summer and play 8 hours of Xbox and like family was there and I wouldn't go down for dinner, being whatever 14. It's like, oh, I could take the Xbox right away. Like you're entitled. It's mine. It's not even yours. And like you're right, but it's not like I'm just sitting in a dark room playing by myself. I'm playing with friends. Like you didn't get that at that point. So it's like,
yeah,
but that's why I
yeah.
hate that word so much now is because of what I don't like. I guess when you called me entitled, I was like, I'm not. And I think that's probably why I hate that word now. Well, because I'm definitely not now. I mean, everything I have is me. But I think that's probably why I hate that is because you didn't want us to be so bad. Like you were like, they're not going to be entitled. So I think like you almost gave that to me. Like, now I don't want to be entitled because of you not wanting me to be entitled. That sounds confusing, but
No, I mean it just like it's just the understanding of it's like I don't obviously I don't want you guys to struggle like I did and obviously move out on my own at 17 and just not have anything and yeah, I mean I remember the day when I got we had a truck repoed and just seeing it getting pulled away and at that time I was like I just can't believe that thing's happening and so I but of course I never wanted you or sis to like have that feeling of that struggle but I definitely don't want things to
us
be for
to
free
be the opposite.
line.
Yeah.
It was a really hard
What did
line.
you tell? What did you tell me? Or what? Like, I don't remember. Like, did you say it got stolen? Like, I don't remember like that conversation. Or did we just like not even know like what was going on? Like, because
Yeah,
I
to be
remember
honest,
like
I don't.
I remember dropping you off. It was at Fairfield, right?
Yeah,
Like, I remember dropping you off at in Fairfield like before school. Like, we drop you off at work, and the mom would take us to school in one car because that's the only car we had. Like, I remember doing that, but I don't remember like asking you like, oh, what happened to the car, or like where is it, or I don't remember that.
yeah. I think
I
a
mean,
lot
if
of
you said
that,
it
a
got
lot of those
stolen, I
things.
would have believed it because it's a bad
Yeah,
area. But
I think no, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I think even just having the marriage that I do is, I unfortunately sometimes I kind of dumped a lot of that stuff on mom, and it was kind of like her responsibility to have those
figure it out.
conversations and deal with it and like talk to you guys about it, and it was just like yeah, it was like that old school, like, I don't know, mindset of like, oh, I work, I make the money, so I can just kind of do what I want to do. And it's just like such a wrong mindset to have, where like, you should be going into with your spouse, your life, like putting in 100% always, and obviously it took a long time to do that. And
Yeah,
so
I
that was
mean
just
it's
one part. So maybe she's,
50-50.
you know,
It's
yeah,
50-50 for you guys in like different ways. Like what your 50% is like a lot different than her 50% that she puts in. Like what she did
yeah,
raising us was like just as hard as you working, or maybe harder, honestly, to raise us than it was for you to work. But you don't know, like you said you pay the bills, that's what you think. And I don't think you're like wrong to think that at that time. Again, you're 25. Like you know what you're doing. Like you're young. And so I don't think that's like wrong to think that at that time. But it's like imagine if you like never had those struggles. Like would I be different now? Would I be entitled? Would I be, would I be entitled? Would I be, would I be entitled? Would I be, would I be entitled? 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 Would I would we be making this podcast? Probably not. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like those things happen for a reason for stuff like this. Like, that's why I feel like you were like, I think I remember, like, I don't know, we probably had an hour and a half conversation on the phone about something deep or whatever, like we always do every day. And we already talked on the phone today too. But it was like, you're like, why don't we just make this a podcast? It was like, yeah. I was like, we both listen to podcasts every single day. Like, and you were like, go
Yeah.
look if there's a father or son, like motivational or self improvement, business podcast. And I freaking looked everywhere and I was like, dude, I was like, this is a niche right here, that a market that we could hit, like, that we're like meant to do. Like, it's like, I feel like we both think that this is like what we're meant to do right now. Like, this is what God is,
Yeah. I
like,
just,
the plan is.
yeah, no, I definitely feel like it's I mean, God has led me that way. I think going to this men's Bible study and doing that, I've just kind of just realized, a lot of dads, my age and younger, I mean, they struggle with their kids, and they, especially the generation of social media and so much going on, like the heads in the phones. And like, I know dads particularly want to be able to connect with their sons and their daughters, but it's hard. It's hard when they don't understand, what their kids going through. And so that's where I feel like it's an awesome opportunity for us to, like, we've obviously have a great relationship, but we've gone through a lot of these tribulations that a lot of maybe young dads have, that they have their son, like you said, they have their son that goes to school, comes home, sits on Xbox until he goes to bed, and and then maybe they argue about it, maybe they yell about it, maybe they rip the Xbox out, like
But they're
I've done
but they're both
before.
right, like they're
No,
both right.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like it's
and
all like how you it's yeah, I mean, I don't think you understood, like, well, I guess like when we moved here, because I played, friends in California or whatever, like you kind of let me play more. But it was like, yeah, I mean, you guys didn't really understand it for a while. And again, you're not wrong to not understand. Like, you're not wrong. What you thought is not wrong, but it's just a different, like, outlook on it or understanding of it. And like, I didn't understand what your point was at the time. I'm like, like, I'm just playing. Like, it's better than doing drugs, or I think it's better than watching Netflix for 8 hours or whatever. I mean, literally whatever it is. I think, like, I mean, I still play, obviously, but
it's something that
yeah,
I think is for dads to, I mean, not even like learn and know, but like that was one thing that was a hang up that I had, is like, I mean, obviously video games is definitely not my thing.
yeah,
But you having the ability where, like, hey, your best friend you talk to,
yeah,
online, and
every
I
day.
didn't really get that. I thought it was, the dark room,
Yeah.
antisocial, all of that, where it's like, you're doing so much, interacting with your friends, and again, I still, Xboxes or video games, it's still video games, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get it, but like, sense that, hey, you're, like you said, your best friend you still talk to every day, and it's
Yeah,
through a lot
because
of that.
because of video games. Yeah. Like, if we didn't have they haven't have Xbox, I wouldn't talk to him, you know. So it's like, that's why. So I don't know. I don't think, like, there's definitely times I played too much. There always is. Like, and now I feel like I do a good job balancing it. You have days you chill or whatever, but it's like, I would say, like, if you're taking away from something, if you're taking away from, like, school, like if your grades are bad because of it, if you're not going to the gym because of it, if you're staying up late and not performing at work, or basically, if it's like any other, like, addiction. If you're taking away from something, then you're playing too much.
Yeah.
That's what I
How do
think.
you,
But
I mean, obviously, like you said, I mean, you
how
live
do
on
you
your
gauge
own.
that?
Well, how do you check yourself? How do you know, like, that's enough, or like,
Well,
and
I think that's like something you learn. I don't know.
yeah, work, like, oh, I got to work tomorrow. Like, take all those things out. Like, just flat out, like, what is it that you're like, you know what, this is probably enough. That's with anything,
Uh,
obviously.
I don't know with, well, I guess let's just keep video games because that's the topic and the, like, the analogy. But it's like, I don't know if I didn't work, I don't know what I would do. Like, because I'm not saying you have to work or whatever, but I feel like you have to be doing something. Like, whether it's like this, like if you're not doing something to better yourself or challenge yourself, I mean, that's what we always talk about is like purposely. I mean, that's why you did the ruck. I mean, that sucks. Who wants to walk 75 miles? Nobody. That's terrible. But that's why you do it is to like yeah, it's keeping you in check, you know? Like, I think you said yesterday, like, oh, I'm 10 months sober. Like, I'm good. I don't need to be faithful anymore. I don't need to go to the gym anymore. Like, people think like that. And it's like, no, I mean, mental toughness or all that is like a skill that you have to practice. It's like shooting a basketball or throwing a baseball. Like, it's like you have to practice that. So I mean, there's days I play Xbox till 2 in the morning. I got to open the next day and I work at 8. And it's like, I feel it. And then it's like, oh, that sucks, And then I like go home thinking like, oh, I didn't do as good as I should have done today at work. Or
Yeah. No.
that conversation's not what I wanted it to go or like how I wanted that to go because I did that. But I don't think you learn that unless you mess up. Like unless you do stay up too late, Like, I don't think you can just like figure that out without messing up first. Like you almost have to mess up to well, sometimes you don't. I guess like I just feel like a lot of things in life you have to mess up to get right, Whether it's like credit or that's what I said with stocks on my thing. Like I have not buy any. I mean, I haven't buy any crypto ever since the Dogecoin thing. Not a single dollar of crypto. Like, my stocks are great, but no crypto. Like,
No.
and
Me too.
you can buy crypto. That's cool, but I'm not gonna buy any more crypto because Elon destroyed me. So it's like you have to mess
But
up to do it.
I don't know how I mean, it's pretty similar. I mean, like I said, I was at a church thing last night and the Celebrate Recovery. And that was one of the things that they talked about was like, we keep giving it, it's like God will keep giving it to you and you want to keep screwing it up. It's like,
Yeah.
and whether it's relapse or dealing with it over and over and over. And it's like, man, until you practice with him every day or until you work on it every day and give it to him, he's just going to keep letting you go around,
Well, I feel like God doesn't
go
give you
around the desert.
the
Not,
yeah, God doesn't give you the answer. He gives you the yeah, what's the right wording for this? He doesn't like give you the result. He like gives you the path. You have to like walk it, Like he
yeah.
never like just gives you the winning lottery ticket. It's more like he gives you the chance to win it or the not chance, the option. So you could either pick what you want. It's he's never just gonna like give you the win. Like you aren't sober because like he just gave that to you or you didn't do the ruck and finish it because he just like gave you the ability to, or you didn't lose whatever 50 pounds because he just like snapped his fingers and you're lighter. Like he gave you like the mindset and then like you put the work in, like the path. Like he gives you like the vision and then you put the work in. That's at least that's how I feel with that's like with this, right? It's like we thought we have, a lot to offer. But it's like he didn't just give us a million subscribers. Like we still have to put the work in to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. True. What if
It's
you
like
can,
a horse. What does it say? You can lead a horse to water, can't make a drink. I guess like that kind of. Like
it's
I'll
funny.
open the door for you, but not like I'm not gonna bring you
Yesterday,
in.
he said he's like, he literally had an epiphany. He was like, I was always the person that was trying to lead people to water, trying to lead the horse to water. And he literally said this yesterday. He's like, I realized yesterday that I was a horse, you know,
Huh,
and it's like
that's funny.
different when you when you see it like that, like
Well, I think you're
maybe,
like both in a lot of
maybe,
situations.
yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's a good point. I never heard that, honestly. Yeah, I mean, it's like we don't know what we're doing with this, so we're still trying to figure it out. So it's like, I don't know. I just think of like people or friends or family that like don't understand. You have friends, and I have friends that think it's dumb if I don't go party or whatever it is. If I like choose not to drink, they're like, "Why don't you drink?" or whatever it may be. And it's like, I don't know. I just like I'm just trying to be the best version I can be, and yeah, I'm not gonna like I have a bigger purpose than just my 9 to 5, which is fine, and but like I just feel like this is like the calling. I don't know. It's like slapping me in the or slap, especially you recently, but it's been like what we're doing is like been working, or what we're going for is like I don't know. I could like you could like see the vision. It's like obtainable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy to, I mean, just obviously so much has changed, over the last 9 months. And yeah, like I said, I think we'll get better with this and be able to just really like just try to be real and try to put things out there that the normal person that could understand. And I
Yeah.
know even I was talking to somebody about weight loss, a couple, last week. And it's hard when you are, let's just say, overweight or fat, however you see yourself. And it's like, even if you're the person that, your spouse or everyone's like, oh man, you look good, or I love you, however you are. And, but you don't realize that, like, that person, how they feel, like when they're about to get in the shower and look in the mirror. I mean, you can't tell them anything different on how they see themselves right there. And
Yeah.
that's a really hard thing with mindset. And that's a hard thing with, like, how, how people feel about themselves. That it's it's hard to get out of that. It's hard to, because even if you go do 1,000 push-ups the same day, you're not going to change the way you look in a day. And
No.
so it's hard to have that long-term discipline, because nowadays, it is, everything's so instant and short term. And where you got
I
to put
call
the
it
work.
I started calling TikTok brain. That's what I start calling
Yeah,
it now.
yeah. And I
It's
know I
like
was reading
the
something
quick
yesterday.
dopamine rush.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And I read something yesterday that talked about grit. And really, grit is doing, like, monotonous things every single day, over and over and over. That's how you have grit. And I mean,
Choosing to do them.
yeah, the
Yeah.
monotonous things that nobody cares about. No one's gonna give you recognition. You're just gonna do it. And it's just for you. But little by little, you're gonna change things over time. And it's not a quick fix. And
Yeah.
it's not over. You know, it's really long term.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no such thing as, I mean, overnight is like luck, or you're just like a specimen. But there's no, I mean, in any field, anywhere, like overnight is not really real. Like if you're thinking you're going to be rich overnight, it's just not real. Like whether if it's like, stocks or whatever, like, or gambling or literally anything, your job, like a business, like this isn't going to blow up overnight. We're not going to be billionaires. Like that's just not, there's no such thing as that. It's like you got to grind it out, whether it's anything, whether it's work or school or friend. Like sometimes you got to grind out a relationship with a family member. Like, I think mental toughness is literally like life. Like it doesn't even, it could be anything, sports. Like mental toughness is just, I mean, that's like my word for the year. I feel like is, or 2 words is just like, or my focus is that, like
Yeah,
that. And like, I just think mental toughness is like the key. And again, it's something you have to practice. And we talked about it, whatever, last week when I was like depressed and I was like, dude, why am I depressed? I was like, oh, I didn't go to the gym. And then I'm like making excuses for myself why I didn't go to the gym. And I'm actively trying to have good mental toughness. And I'm like,
yeah,
if I'm a person that is like somewhat mentally tough, I would say I'm somewhat mentally tough and I'm still struggling and I still make excuses. Like, what's the person that doesn't even think about it? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
definitely
would you tell them to, like, take a step forward, though? Like,
I think it's
like,
just intention. You have to live intentionally.
how did you get out of it that week? I remember that.
You have you got to think intentionally. Or I always think like, what in the moment I was happy, like what was I doing? You know, like it sounds kind of dumb, but it's like in my best moments in life, I always think like, okay, I was doing the most, as in like friends, gym, and God, like going to church. Like when I went to church with friends, like that was like the best I've ever been. And it's like that's not a coincidence that like you do these things and you feel better. It's not like, oh, you just happen to feel good those 3 months or whatever because you went to the gym. It's like, no, it's like you feel good because you are going to the gym, because you were eating right, because you were reading, because you're bettering yourself. Like instead of
Yeah.
laughing at a TikTok, like the feeling you get after the gym, like when you don't want to go to the gym and you go to the gym, the feeling after is way better than any other video you're going to see, Like, so that's what I think about when I don't want to go. Even like 2 days ago and I was sick or
And
whatever, 3 days ago, it's like, that's why I went to the gym because I didn't want to go. And it's like, I felt better after.
just and then I mean, you mentioned too, like before, it's like, sometimes it literally is like just showing up,
Oh,
like
yeah.
go to the gym, like, you would go there and just like, I'm just gonna go in the sauna, but like just to get your mind right, or like
Yeah.
you're taking that forward and just showing up. Or it's like, and or sometimes you might go like, oh crap, I had a crappy workout, or I didn't do enough. And it's like, dude, you showed up, like that,
Yeah.
like that's something I'm proud of, that just being there and creating those habits, which all obviously creates that mental toughness, that
Yeah.
self-discipline.
I mean, I still struggle
Repeated.
with going. I still struggle going to the gym, consistently weekly just because my schedule is crazy with that. But it's like when you go, you just feel better. And none of that's coincidence to me. It's just not. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would we we're the most fit we've ever been and we feel the best we've ever been? It's not because like we're just like happy for no reason. Like, it's like, no, because what we're doing is working. Like, we feel good about ourselves, and that's the trick. And it's not easy to like always have a good day. I'm not saying you have a good day every day. I really like I haven't started it yet, but doing like tracking your days, like winning the day, like I don't know, do you do that yet? Have you started the track like your weekly, like if you win the days out of the week?
I haven't yet. I've been talking about it though. A couple people actually like 2 days ago. Yeah, just having like a solid power list. And I remember having when I was going through 75 hard, phase one. Yeah, just having a power list. And it's weird how those things, like, when you're checking the box, it's so easy, and then you just fall off after a while, because it's like, I know, like, the things that I was doing to try to win the day. Well, I made sure I was reaching out to you and Katie every day. Can you send you guys gratitude? I was trying to do something special for mom every single day. And I didn't tell you guys that's what I was doing. I just was doing it. And, but it's just crazy that I was doing that to give you guys gratitude and appreciate you guys. But honestly, I got way more from
You
it.
got more. Yeah. So when you text me, have a good day or like get after it or whatever, you probably, I mean, not that I didn't feel good. I felt great. Seeing that text is always good. But you were probably like, you felt better than I did, for sending that. Like you feel good, which you should. Like it's okay to like do things for yourself. Like like
Yeah,
you're
even
you're
though
like two
it's
birds,
like
one stone. Like you're doing something for somebody else, but also taking care of yourself at the same time.
yeah. I just think, I mean, it's just weird how, like, if you, the more, again, everyone says it, it's like the more you give, the more you get back. But it's like, but yeah, I never really knew that, because I definitely lived a lot of my life, selfish, and what's in it for me, and what can I do? Again, this is so stupid, but I remember I wanted to buy a new quad, and we did not have
Oh
money
yeah.
for and it's like, it's dumb, but I remember telling, mom, just telling, like, well, if you can get finance, you can go get it. And
If you can get even not even a good rate, if you can get approved from any rate
yeah, I get
anywhere from
approved.
any bank,
Yeah, and
do you
I got
remember what the
approved.
interest was? Do you remember what the interest was?
like 24% or something like
Yeah, I
that.
mean, that is like,
Eh,
you never thought back then, like, "Oh, that's probably not a good idea." Like, you didn't care at all or just didn't understand it or
I just didn't. I I don't know. I just didn't really have a mentor like that or someone that checked me. I think everybody, I believe in this too. Like, I think everybody needs to be checked. Everybody needs somebody to hold them accountable or be their buddy coin or their to hold them to a certain line, no matter what. Even if it's Elon Musk or the president or anything else. Like, everybody needs somebody. And I think in that moment, unfortunately, like, I didn't I didn't have anybody that would check me. And on top of that, mom always felt like, man, I work so hard, like, my mindset was like, oh, I deserve it. Like, I'm a guy, I deserve it. Like,
yeah,
and it's just not the right mindset to have. And it just took me, obviously we had to go through all those tribulations and fight through all that to even like understand that just not that's not the way to go. And
yeah,
that's why I'm like so proud of you. It's like, how do you, like, man, before you bought your house, the money that you had in your account, it's like, man, I didn't have that money in my account until I was in my 30s, and it's like, for you to be able to have that discipline for the future and not the instant gratification that most people are looking for, but the long-term gratification of like buying a house, and you never bought a house before. So you don't even know how you would even feel buying a house. Like, is it
yeah,
worth it? And it's like, and it's different to, yeah, you're sitting living in your investment. But I think for kids your age, young adults your age, like, sometimes they don't see it like that because you can't see the money.
yeah.
And it's not flashy. It's not a
Mansion
new freak. Yeah,
or a
new big, or it's
Lamborghini
not a,
or
yeah, it's
yeah,
not something. It's not where you can show off and go, look at me. You just
yeah.
know in your heart, like, man, that's the right thing. Like,
And I don't even
you're
think, like,
doing well.
everybody like, I don't even think, like, you should buy a house if you don't want to, like, a house is not necessarily, like, the end all goal in life for everybody, you know? Whether that could be, like, pay for school all the way. Like, say you save money in high school to pay for your school, like, if you wanna be a doctor or do anything. Like, I don't think a house is necessarily the goal. I mean, it could be, start a business or I mean, it could literally be anything. I just think that being able to I was talking to Kessler about this, like, me and him were like, "Oh, dude, like, the bank account was looking a little scary compared to, like, normal." And he was like, "Yeah, I usually just, like, think about it, and I just, like, end up saving." And I was like, "I'm the same way." He's like, "That's nice, though, that we're like that." He's like, "People aren't like that." I'm like, "I know." So I don't know what I would say to those people. I mean, I know some people I work with that are just like, "Oh, I just spent all my money," you know? And it's almost like a flex when they're like, "Oh, I just spent my whole check." It's like, I don't like
It's not,
I I
it's not
I
a
spend
flex.
I spend my check because I gotta pay a mortgage, you know? Like, that's why,
Yeah.
but I don't really know what I would say to a person that struggles saving money other than, like I mean, I like to do, like, the or in Acorns or Robinhood and just put $5 in there and just don't even look at it. I think that's probably the best. I mean, we always talk about, like, money you don't see, you know? If it's 10 bucks, like, you're not gonna see that $10, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's the best thing to do is just to put money away. That a
Yeah. I
savings
don't,
account's dumb. I think you should invest. I think if you invest right, it's like great. I don't savings account to me is a waste of money when you could just do long term. This is not financial advice. I think you have to say that on YouTube because I'm not a financial advisor. I don't want to get sued if somebody
you know, like,
invests.
suit
Every
or
time I
bend
want,
or what.
yeah, I see guys on YouTube and they're like, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my opinion. I think you're supposed to say that. So I don't know.
Yeah. I should have sued you for giving me bad advice on Dogecoin.
Well, dude, actually,
Or
if we oh,
AMC, you know.
that's your fault.
That was
You're up. Can we say how much you're up? How much were you up? And you didn't sell. That's the biggest L ever, dude.
I don't remember. I think it was up like,
Seven
I
grand.
think
I
it
remember.
yeah. That was so So down
But you
holding
were
on
like,
to,
but stone hands, stone hands.
yeah, no, diamond hands.
Yeah, diamond hands. That's what it's called. Yeah, yeah. But I don't blame you. It was like the hype train, you know? Like everybody,
Yeah,
not everybody. A lot of people were doing it though.
yeah, but still, just not. Yeah, it just wasn't.
I did the math
What?
though. If I sold or if I kept the Dogecoin I had and sold at the highest point, I would have made like 6 grand, something like that. But when I bought it originally, it was like a meme, which it was a meme coin, but it was like I just I was like, oh, I'm just gonna sell it. Like it's never gonna go up. And then of course it takes off some reason, like randomly, and then I didn't have any at that time, so I bought some at I don't know, like 30 cents or 40 cents, and it got to 77 or something. But I had some when it was
Yeah,
like 0.00007, like. But at that time, it was like, oh, it's a meme. It's never gonna take off. Like I literally looked it up. I remember talking to like two buddies, and we all were like, let's just throw $100 in there. And it was like, I looked up like, is this real? Like, is it like Bitcoin or Ethereum? Like, could it be that? And they were like, no, it's literally the guy is literally made it for a meme. Like it'll never take off. And I was like, oh, like I'm just gonna sell this. Like, why would I? So I basically went even on that, and then of course I ended up putting I don't know how much money in when it got bigger. But I mean, do you
yeah,
remember being on the couch watching SNL and like trying to
yeah,
sell on Robinhood and you couldn't sell?
that's terrible.
That was terrible. Yeah, that was terrible.
Do you remember, like, if you look back on like when you started investing, like, how did
Oh,
you
that's a good
decide,
question.
like, how did you decide like what you were investing in,
That's a
like
good question.
way? Yeah,
Well, I was in Colorado, and then uh, this guy I met there. I think it's like when Robinhood got big or started getting bigger, and like he was like looking at it. I mean, I looked at stocks before, but I never invested. But he was like, "Yeah, it's so easy. Like it just boom right there." And I was like, "Oh." That's when I had extra money. You know, I still lived with you guys, so I'd like I could put $5,000 into stocks, and it was like okay, and it was like I don't know. I just picked like Tesla because I was booming. But at that time, it was like playing. It was like nothing was long term, and I don't think like anything's wrong with like day trading. I just think that it's harder than a lot of people think. I don't. It's not very easy to just like day trade. I mean, there's people that can do options, which is again maybe it's easy for some people, but I mean, same thing with options. Like I made like $200. Like, dude, this is easy, and then I lost like 1,000 the next day. And I was like, this is not easy. So
yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
think, yeah,
I think like
that's
nothing's
always like,
wrong. Like S&P 500 is always like just picking. Honestly, just picking companies you like. Like that's what I've done, and it's worked out. Like I don't. I only have some companies that are just like whatever for long term dividends and things like that. But a lot of them are my best ones are all ones I like. Actually like the product. It's like I mean Nvidia is big. I mean my PC is literally Nvidia, GPU. Like, and I like Nvidia, so it just makes sense to me.
yeah. Well, if you're, I mean, obviously you're invested in dollar wise, but you're also invested in the product,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
think a lot of those companies like do well because I mean, yeah, like why would you? Might as well buy Amazon or something like that because you're invested in it because
If
you're going to
you
use it
use
every day.
Amazon, yeah, or if
Yeah,
you have a Tesla, you probably are invested in Tesla. And yeah, I think buying things you like are good, but you really just I mean, I've rarely sold anything for years, I think it's really what you got to do is just hold on. I mean, I talked to like Kessler's little brother, and he's like, I like show my Robinhood. He's like, dude, that's crazy. And it's like, are you gonna sell it? Are you gonna sell it? It's like, no, just I just leave it in
yeah,
there and just let it. I just let it keep going, and it's like, I think if you are all like willing, I guess it goes back to spending money in your account, though. Are you willing to have the like down the road success and down the road fun? And I think it's a balance. That's what I'm still trying to figure out is like how much money do I spend now to have fun? Because it's like I don't want to just like spend all my money when I'm 50 and have fun. It's like I want to have fun forever, my whole life. But I think
yeah.
it's
Well,
definitely
that's
a balance. Like, I don't wanna
That's that's what goes
retire
into
with no
that.
money.
Yeah, that's what's hard with that. I mean, again, it goes in the same lines of like that self discipline, mental toughness.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
is it literally instant gratification or long term gratification? You know, and
Yeah.
it's like I think having clear eyes and like going through it on your mind and really thinking about it. You know, making that decision. Not saying that you can never buy anything for yourself, but like, just, like, not making that quick, "I'm gonna go spend my check," or maybe they spend it you spend it before you even get it,
Yeah.
and, you know, that's, that instant gratification of buying that nice jacket or whatever at the mall is cool, but, like, where's that gonna get you long term, you know?
Yeah. I mean, nowhere. It's definitely well, that's why you're saying mental toughness. I mean, it's literally with every aspect of life. I mean, I think a lot of things kinda sound cheesy or dumb, like or, like, cliche or whatever, but it's like, that's what it is. Like, you have to be mentally strong to not spend everything you have, or you have to be mentally strong to show up to school every time on time. Like, I don't know. It's literally with everything. Like, that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
that's
maybe
my
we can talk on future, like, just like, not even the mental toughness, but because I would like to I think I like just to share in the future of, like, before we even got to that point, you know, where we even thought about this and where I, not even think about mental toughness, but I had zero self control on
yeah.
anything, you know, and
I mean,
what I
I
ate,
I
what
don't
I
know
drank,
how good
what I
your self control is now, but it's like I still struggle. Like
yeah,
just buying things or
yeah,
whatever it is.
I think it goes in waves for me. I mean, it's it's hard because I feel like I've always been somebody that just buys stuff and just,
Well, what do
and
we
it's
always
just
say?
not,
Like we're Mark Young, we just buy it. We just we're both
yeah,
Mark Young.
that's crazy. And it's like, and treat yourself. It's like,
Yeah,
so even that, I feel like we could always be better. And
yeah,
but that's why we're even talking about now, because pushing to be even better no matter what. It's, there's a lot of, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity just to keep getting better and keep growing. And it's like, I don't think you're ever done, and that's why, again,
no,
I'm so proud of like you. I'm like, man, you're 21 doing the things that you're doing now and with the mindset that you have. And it's like, you're just gonna continue to get stronger and push yourself in different ways. And I just wish, like, I mean, I think we should just wrap this up, but I think like thinking
yeah,
about it now, we got, you got people your age and, you might look in the future and go like, well, I can never do that. I can never be that person. I can never buy a house at that age. I can never act that way. And ultimately, like, it starts with one day, you got to just decide one day. And I know that's again, like you said, cliche or stupid or whatever,
but
but
it's
that's
not though. That's what it is. It really is. That's what it is.
one decision one day, and you have to just again keep stacking the wins. And hey, if you win the week, you hit 4 out of 7 days, you win. You hit half the month, 16 days, like you win the month. And I think sometimes again we don't see it like that because it's that instant gratification that we're thinking about, and we just have to you just have to think, hey, just one day, just do it
Yeah.
one day and see if it'll stack up. But
I want to tell one more story related to that. I mean, you remember when I struggled being positive, and you were told me like, I mean, we've talked about this a million times, but you were like, just go the morning without complaining, just the morning. And I was like, okay, like that's pretty easy. So I get there and like, big delivery, and I was like, oh, dude, like massive delivery. And I was like, dude, I already lost. Like, I already lost. And it's like, I came in that day trying to have a good positive mindset just for the morning, not even the whole day, just for the morning, like with one other person there for 2 hours. And the first thing I said there was negative. And it's like,
yeah,
so, like, if you, like, I don't know, I'm better than I am back then. I'm better now, but it's like, you got to start somewhere, and it's like
yeah,
whether that's just winning a part of your day. You break it in quarters or whatever, or winning one day. Like if you're winning 0 days out of the week, win one day. Like just literally going to the gym or trying to win, just trying at all is better. Like even if you're losing, if you're trying and like really trying, putting all your effort into eating right or whatever is better than doing nothing. Like worst case scenario, like we always say, is you go back to exactly where you were. It's like, if this fails, what do we do? Cool. We have our exact same lives now, and we still have these awesome conversations over the phone every day, but people
Yeah.
won't get to see it.
But the awesome thing, I think the awesome thing is even with that though, is like, yeah, I mean, you might go back to your ways, but you're still learning something, you're still putting
Yeah.
yourself out there and learning something. And yeah, you might not lose 20 pounds because you go back to your old ways, but you learn that, hey, maybe you can lose a pound. And so it's possible,
Yeah.
and there's a way to do it. And maybe again, you try to stack those days up or reset, just knowing that like it is possible. And
Yeah.
it's like, I think we're both examples, I would say, of maybe some stuff that's impossible.
Or
I couldn't tell you.
impossible.
Yeah, like, well, I just couldn't tell you, like, I mean, would you think you'd be 21 years old, do what you are? I was, drinking too much 10 months ago, and look at me now. It's just crazy that, but I couldn't tell you 10 months ago that this is even fathomable, that something is even possible, or to even be able to just, I took you to Nashville for your 21st birthday,
And a drink.
sober, and that's crazy. It's
Yeah.
like who
I mean,
wants to
the
do
time
that, and
before
who
that in
can't?
Nashville, you're hungover on the plane, like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just
yeah.
totally, yeah, literally the time before, just crazy. But
Right.
well, yeah, man, it's
Wrap it up.
been awesome talking to you. I know when we talk,
I know.
always on the phone, so face to face is good. Let's
Well, you don't
I'm
like
excited
FaceTime either,
to,
so it's kinda
get,
funny.
yeah, it's another generational thing. FaceTime sucks. Like, I can't deal with FaceTime at all. So it's,
It's fine
let's say
then.
your generation.
When they listen to it, it's fine. They don't know that it's awkward face to face.
Good.
Yeah. But when they see it on YouTube, then they will.
Yeah, it's funny.
But
Well, man,
sounds good.
it's gonna be an awesome journey that we're on. I'm definitely excited for the future, and everybody listening, bear with us. We do we love to get real with each other and just talk about hard things that I feel like my young generation is dealing with, and his younger generation is dealing with. And I think it's important to be able to share those things and work through them, because again, it is possible, and you can do it too.
Feel like we need to come up with a little outro. Should we try to do it right now? Oh, that'd be funny. I need like a
No, put
no,
put in the
no.
comments of what our outro.
We're gonna get one
I'm sure.
comment and it's gonna be from mom. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we're
I'm
gonna get
gonna be
one
like, dang
comment.
it,
But
that's our outro.
imagine if like Jake comes up with a comment and we have 1 million subscribers and we still use that same outro. That'd be pretty cool for that person or whoever comes up with it. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
come
know what
up
should
with a
be.
comment, it'd be good.
Yeah, come up with something because
Yeah,
we don't
but
have anything.
we'll say I'm out. But yeah,
You say I'm out. Is that what you said?
yeah, I'm out.
Oh, I'm out.
That's not what it's gonna be. Just today.
I just say sounds good. Sounds good. All right.
Uh,
All
sounds
right.
good.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Later.
I'm out.
Worst. This is the worst this is gonna be is right now. So no matter what, after this, it's gonna be better. So like this podcast, the one we just filmed is that's the worst. That's the worst it's gonna be. That's pretty good. Even though it might have sucked, but I don't think it sucked, but that's the worst it's gonna be. So it's like I don't know.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it got natural. Got natural as things went through it.
Well, that's what I told you. I think that once we just start talking, it's fine. I do think it's kind of awkward to FaceTime.
Yeah.
We don't really FaceTime that much. Like I think if we just
Yeah.
recorded calls, it would be better. For right now.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
okay.
So yeah, I think that like we'll get more natural just face to face, which is weird. Like I mean, I don't think it's awkward. I don't think it was awkward, but like over the phone, it's totally normal. I don't know. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
especially if we're together, like the camera, I just kind of don't even. I just don't really think there's even a camera. I just talk like how I would talk to you. Like I didn't really try
I think it'd be
to.
good too when we have like set, I think like just like a set topic, and I think that would be cool too. Like that would be super
You know what I
natural.
think we're gonna
Just
struggle with though is I think we'll go off track. Like I think we
yeah,
gotta
I think
focus
it's
on
okay though. I mean,
to a point. It's almost like when they do CTI and they like need to get the next one or QAF. They like need to get the next question. It's almost like that. Like I think we should do like I mean we could probably talk about one topic for an hour. So maybe we should do like two topics and be like at like set a 45-minute timer and like if that 45-minute timer hits, it's like okay, we gotta like go to the next one. Unless it's like super good conversation. But I feel like we should still like
yeah. Oh, you can always edit too,
yeah,
cut
I
it
get
out,
that
figure it
too.
out.
But I really like to just have
But
flow, especially podcasts. I think it's good to like again, I think it's different than like a Mr. Beast. I don't know if you know who Mr. Beast is, like the biggest YouTuber. Like it's all like high production and like well, actually I don't think he scripts it, but a lot of people like just script what they're gonna say. And like podcasts, that's kind of why I think we're good for podcasts because it's not I mean, we're not actors. Like I'm not gonna act like I can
it's
like
different.
put on a show. Like I'm not gonna do that. But I think what we can do is good for this, like, or great for this. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so too. Yeah, I think
yeah.
for podcasts for sure.
Yeah.
All right,
Going to bed.
I'm gonna go to bed.